The girl who needed a backup plan. I never thought I'd be someone's backup plan. Not me. Not with the way she looked at me in the beginning. The way she laughed at my dumb jokes, clutched my hand in crowded rooms like I was her anchor, whispered to me that I was different, that she didn't believe in soulmates until she met me. But I was wrong. So wrong. And the truth? The truth was so much worse than I ever imagined. Let me start at the beginning. Or at least, the part where things started to feel real. Her name was Lila. She had this calm but commanding energy, like she didn't need to be loud to be noticed. People naturally gravitated toward her. Maybe it was her looks. Maybe it was that quiet confidence. Maybe it was that subtle sadness behind her eyes, the kind that made you want to be the one who fixed it. I met her in a literature class during our second year of university. I remember the exact moment. She walked in late, and the only seat left was the one next to me. I offered her a shy smile, and she returned it like she was already miles ahead of me, like she knew something I didn't. I was hooked instantly. We talked after class. Then the next day. Then it became lunch. Then late-night texts. Then 2-hour phone calls. Then one evening, in the middle of a cold November night, we kissed. And just like that, we were something. Or at least, I thought we were. Looking back now, I can pinpoint the first red flag. The first of many I brushed aside like an idiot. It was how she introduced me to people. This is Ryan. Not my boyfriend. Not my partner. Just Ryan. Like I was a classmate. A study buddy. A safe name, vague and harmless. I asked her about it once, teasingly, and she laughed it off. "Oh, come on," she said, ruffling my hair. "Labels are lame. You know what we are." And I thought I did. Until I didn't. There was a guy in her orbit I always felt strange about. His name was Cole. Tall. Confident. That casual swagger of someone who's used to getting what he wants. Lila said he was just an old friend from high school, someone she used to be close with, but not anymore. "I could never be with someone like him," she said once, rolling her eyes. Too arrogant. Too much drama. But she always lit up when he texted. And I noticed things, subtle things. How she'd glance at her phone and smile when his name appeared. How she'd sometimes go quiet when I asked if she wanted to hang out, only to text later. Something came up. "Sorry, love?" Once, I pressed her. "Are you sure there's nothing going on with you and Cole?" Her expression shifted. Just a little, a flicker of something behind her eyes. Annoyance? Guilt? "Ryan," she said slowly, "I told you. He's a friend. Don't be insecure." That word. Insecure. She used it like a blade, clean, sharp, and meant to cut just enough to make me feel small without looking like an attack. I apologized. Like an idiot. I apologized for asking. I didn't know it then, but I was already losing her. I just hadn't figured out that I never really had her. I should have trusted my gut. That phrase haunts me now. I should have, but I didn't. I wanted so badly to believe her. I wanted to be the one she chose, not just out of comfort or convenience, but because she saw something in me no one else did. But I was never the one. I was the placeholder. The safe harbor while she waited out the storm for him. The turning point came during winter break. I'd invited her to spend a weekend at my parents' cabin, just the two of us, away from campus, away from everything. She said yes. I remember feeling this stupid, childlike hope as we drove up there, thinking maybe this trip would seal what we had. Maybe it would move us into something real. And for a while, it felt real. We cooked together. We laughed. We stayed up late watching movies, wrapped up in a blanket. She curled up beside me and whispered things that felt so intimate I almost cried, about her fears, her childhood, how she'd never felt truly seen before. I believed her. But even then, I caught her texting someone late at night while she thought I was asleep. Her phone dimly lit her face as she typed and smiled. I didn't say anything. I just turned over and stared at the wall. The next morning, I asked who she'd been messaging. She blinked, casual as ever. "Oh, just my cousin. She's going through a breakup." That was a lie. I knew it. But I let it slide. I was too afraid to push. Too afraid that if I poked hard enough, the whole illusion would fall apart, and I'd be left with the cold truth I wasn't ready to face. So I kept playing my role. After that trip, things began to shift. Slowly, but noticeably. She grew distant, less responsive, less affectionate. Her kisses became quicker, her smiles distracted. She started studying late more often. She canceled plans at the last minute. She stopped sending goodnight texts. I tried to hold on. I bought her favorite coffee. I surprised her with little gifts. I even wrote her a letter, long and vulnerable and painfully honest. She read it, smiled softly, and said, "That's sweet, Ree." Then she tucked it in her bag like it was nothing more than a napkin doodle. And then came the night I'll never forget. We were supposed to meet at a party. A mutual friend was throwing it, and Lila had said she'd be there. I arrived, looking around for her, feeling that anxious mix of anticipation and dread I'd grown far too used to by then. I saw her across the room. She was laughing, drink in hand, leaning into someone. Cole. He had his hand on her lower back. She wasn't pushing it away. In fact, she looked comfortable, like it was familiar, like it was natural. My stomach twisted. I forced myself through the crowd and approached them. She spotted me and instantly took a half step back, her smile flickering. "Oh, hey," she said, like I'd caught her off guard, like I wasn't supposed to be there. Cole didn't even acknowledge me at first. When he did, it was with that smug, knowing grin that said everything. "Ryan, right?" he said, feigning politeness. "Yeah," I said, my voice tight. "Hey." Lila quickly downed the rest of her drink. "I was just catching up with Cole," she said too quickly. We should talk later, okay?" "Talk later?" I stared at her, waiting for some sign, an explanation, an apology, anything. But she just smiled, tight and practiced, and walked away with him. I stood there in that noisy, crowded room, surrounded by laughter and music and people who didn't know I was falling apart. I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. I left without saying a word. The next day, I asked her directly, "What's going on with you and Cole?" She sighed, irritated, like I was the one making a scene. "Nothing is going on, Ryan. We're friends. I told you. Friends don't touch each other like that," I snapped. "Friends don't act the way you two were acting." She rolled her eyes. "God, why are you being so dramatic?" "Because I'm not blind," I said. "Because I feel it. You're pulling away. You've been different for weeks. You're not here anymore." There was a pause, and then she said it. "Maybe we rushed into this. Maybe I just needed time to figure things out. I didn't mean to lead you on, but I think we want different things." My chest went numb. "Are you breaking up with me?" She looked away. "I don't know. I need space. I need to think." That was her way out. That was the moment she let go of the rope, letting me fall while pretending it wasn't her doing. But it wasn't over yet. Because a week later, one brutal, silent, gut-wrenching week, I saw them together again. This time it wasn't at a party. It wasn't some ambiguous interaction I could rationalize. They were walking hand in hand through campus. She was laughing. He leaned down and kissed her forehead, and I just froze. She caught my eye as I passed. Her smile faltered for a second, not guilt, exactly. More like pity, like I was some sad chapter she had to close. I didn't confront her. What was the point? She'd already chosen. I was never the choice. I was just the backup plan, the safety net, the fool who waited around while she circled back to the guy she really wanted. I didn't eat much that week. Didn't sleep either. I'd lie in bed staring at the ceiling, reliving every moment, every word, every smile she gave me, wondering which ones were real and which were just part of her act. Wondering how long she knew she didn't want me. Wondering if she ever really did. The worst part wasn't that she left. It was that she'd never truly been with me to begin with. Campus felt different after that. Smaller. Colder. Like every hallway echoed with memories I didn't want. I started avoiding the places we used to go, the coffee shop on 6th, the quiet courtyard by the art building, even the library steps where we once watched the first snowfall together. And yet, I still saw her. Not because I wanted to, but because she didn't even try to hide. Lila and Cole were everywhere now, holding hands in the cafeteria, sitting together in lecture, laughing too loud in the quad like no one else existed. I couldn't escape it. People started noticing. Friends gave me that awkward, sympathetic look. Some even asked if I was okay. I always gave the same answer. Yeah, just tired. Busy with classes. Haven't seen her in a while. Lies. All of them. The truth was, I was unraveling. One night, I ran into her at the gym. She was there with him, of course. He was showing off, bench pressing too much, flexing between sets like he was in a damn movie. She giggled every time he made some stupid comment. I tried to leave without them seeing me. Didn't work. "Ryan," she called out. I turned. Instinct. She jogged over, her ponytail swaying behind her. "Hey, I didn't know you still came here." Still came here? I used to bring her here. I helped her build her routine, taught her how to do proper reps, spotted her the first time she tried to bench anything. And now she was acting like I was just some stranger with the same membership card. Yeah, I said, flat. Still do. She hesitated. Maybe she saw the way I looked at her. The way I didn't look at her, actually. I hope we can still be cool, she said. Cool. That word hit me like a punch. Sure, I lied. Real cool. I walked away. That night I did something I hadn't done in months. I opened my journal, something I used to write in religiously. Back before Lila. Before the high highs and the crushing lows. I flipped to a blank page and just unloaded. I wrote everything. How she made me feel. How she made me believe. How she let me believe. And how she threw it all away the second he came back. The words poured out of me like venom. I didn't hold back. For the first time, I let myself feel the anger beneath the heartbreak. The rage of being played. The humiliation of being the guy she settled for until the real deal was ready. I filled 10 pages that night. By the time I stopped, my hands were shaking. A few days later, I bumped into Jess, one of Lila's old roommates. We weren't exactly close, but she always seemed to like me. She pulled me aside outside a cafe and looked like she was holding something in. I probably shouldn't tell you this, she started. I raised an eyebrow, but she sighed. Lila started talking to Cole way before you two broke up. I froze. What? She told me about it during winter break. Said she was confused and didn't want to hurt you but didn't know how to tell you. I felt my chest constrict. She was texting him behind my back? Jess nodded. Yeah, a lot. Like, every day. I think she was just waiting to see if he was serious this time before she let you go. I clenched my jaw. That was the final nail. All the lies. The vague answers. The late-night texts. The excuses. She wasn't confused. She was calculating. Strategic. She needed me to be there just in case. And when Cole gave her the green light, she cut the rope. Clean. After that, something inside me broke, but not in the way I expected. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I stopped caring. Stopped checking her social media. Stopped asking mutual friends about her. Stopped waiting for some text or apology that would never come. It was like flipping a switch. Cold. Final. I started pouring myself into things I used to neglect. The gym, my writing, my studies. I picked up a job. Started waking up earlier. Not to win the breakup or get revenge. Just to rebuild. Piece by piece. Some days were harder than others. Some nights I still thought of her. Still pictured the way she used to look at me. The way her hand felt in mine. But the more time passed, the more those memories felt fake. Like scenes from a movie I once thought was real. Eventually, I stopped blaming her. And started blaming myself. For ignoring the red flags. For trusting so blindly. For thinking love meant letting someone walk all over you as long as they didn't leave. I was wrong. Love doesn't look like begging someone to choose you. Love doesn't sound like maybe, someday, or I'm confused. Love doesn't hurt like that. By the end of the semester, Lila and Cole were official. Instagram posts, matching Halloween costumes, even a story where they called each other soulmates. It didn't sting like I thought it would. It just felt hollow. Like watching a rerun of a show I used to like but had outgrown. The last time I ever spoke to her was at graduation. She came up to me afterward, diploma in hand, as a little too shiny. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, she said. I looked at her. Really looked. She didn't seem as untouchable anymore. She just looked tired. Maybe even a little guilty. Sorry for what? I asked, genuinely curious. She hesitated. For the way I handled things. For hurting you. I nodded. Yeah, you did. She blinked, like she wasn't expecting me to say it so plainly. Then I added, but I let it happen. So I guess I've got some blame too. There was a silence. Then she smiled small, sad, and whispered, you were always too good for me. And just like that, she walked away. No fanfare. No second chances. Just the end of a story I should have never been in to begin with. After graduation, I left town. Not dramatically, not in a movie kind of way, where I pack my bags and storm off into the sunset. I just moved on. New city, new job, new apartment, clean slate. No Lila. No memories waiting for me around every corner. I cut the cord, blocked her on everything. Not out of spite, out of necessity. I knew myself too well. One late night, one drink too many, and I'd go looking. And I didn't want to go looking anymore. I was done being the guy who looked back. Life after her was quieter. Simpler. There was peace in the silence she left behind. And in that space, I started to rebuild things I didn't even know I had let rot. I reconnected with old friends I'd pushed away during the relationship. took long walks, cooked for myself, started reading again. I even went on a few dates, nothing serious, just testing the waters. But I couldn't help comparing every girl to her, even though I hated myself for it. It was like trying to erase a word that had been carved into concrete. Still, I tried, and slowly, the comparison stopped. The scars started to fade. One night, about 6 months after graduation, I was at a party a friend from work invited me to. It was one of those rooftop events. Music, string lights, people dressed better than they needed to be. I didn't plan to stay long. And then I saw her. Not Lila. A different girl. A woman, really. She was standing alone near the railing, sipping something clear, staring out at the skyline like it had answers. Something about the way she held herself, it wasn't performance. It wasn't forced. It was real. I don't know what made me walk over. Maybe I was finally ready. Maybe I just wanted to see what it felt like to start something without fear. We talked for hours. About books. About music. About childhood memories we thought only we had. There were no games. No pretense. No tests I had to pass. Just presence. That night, walking home, I realized something that caught me off guard. I wasn't angry anymore. Not at Lila. Not at Cole. Not even at myself. She was just a chapter. A hard one. A brutal one. One that tore me apart line by line. But not the whole story. The pain she left taught me something I could have never learned from comfort. How to stand alone. How to heal alone. She didn't break me. She revealed me. The parts of me that needed to grow. The places I left unguarded. The hope I gave away too easily. A few months later, I heard from Jess again. Apparently Lila and Cole had broken up. He cheated on her. I didn't laugh. I didn't feel satisfied. I just nodded and said, huh, and meant it. Because by then, I understood something I wish I had back then. Some people don't know how to love. They only know how to need. And when they're scared of being alone, they'll find anyone to fill the silence. Until someone louder shows up. I was her silence filler. Her backup plan. Her placeholder. But never her home. And now? Now I was mine. Ghosts knock loudest when you're at peace. It had been over a year since I last saw Lila when her name showed up on my phone again. No call. Just a message. Hey, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but can we talk? I stared at it for a long time. Not out of panic, just confusion. Why now? I didn't reply. Instead, I locked my phone and tossed it across the couch like it was radioactive. The peace I'd built, the fragile balance I had managed to protect, it suddenly felt violated. Like someone knocked down the door to a home I finally learned how to live in alone. Later that night, a second message came. I just want to say sorry. You didn't deserve what I did to you. No excuses. No, but I was confused. Just that. And still, I didn't reply. I told myself I was past her. That nothing she said now could matter. But the truth? I felt something. Not for her. Not love. Not longing. But echoes. Like the aftershock of a quake that had long since passed, but still left buildings leaning. I opened the chat. Reread it. Again and again. Then deleted it. Closure wasn't her right to give. It was mine to take, and I already had. Weeks passed. Life resumed. Then I saw her in person. It was at a bookstore downtown, the kind I used to go to back in college. I was with someone. Her name was Claire. She was everything Lila wasn't. Grounded, calm, honest to a fault. We weren't serious, but it was real enough to matter. We were walking past the coffee stand when I heard my name. Matt. It was her voice. Familiar. Drenched in hesitation. I turned. Lila. She looked different. Tired. Hair shorter. Dressed simply, no show, no polish. I blinked, and for a second, I didn't feel anything. Just observation. Hey, I said. Claire looked at me, then at her. This is Lila, I said. No label. No explanation. Lila gave a weak smile. Hi. Claire nodded politely. Hi. An awkward pause. I looked at Lila. Good to see you. Take care. And we walked away. In the car, Claire didn't ask anything. She didn't need to. She just placed her hand on mine while I drove. That silence was more healing than any apology. But of course, Lila wasn't done. The long game. 2 days later, another message came. I didn't expect to see you. I don't know what I was hoping for. You looked happy. I'm glad. I never forgot you. Not really. I wanted to throw my phone again. Not because I was angry. Because a part of me felt tempted to reply. That scared me. I knew better. I had learned better. But the heart has a strange memory. It forgets the betrayal, sometimes, and remembers the touch, the laughter, The illusion. So I wrote something I never sent. You broke me in ways I didn't even realize until I was on the floor picking up pieces months later. I gave you everything. You used it as a cushion until something shinier came along. You don't get to walk back and just because the shine wore off. I'm not yours anymore. You made sure of that. Then I deleted it. Not because she didn't deserve to hear it, but because I didn't deserve to relive it. Claire found out a few days later. Not from me. Some mutual friend posted a photo from that bookstore day. Tag Lila. Claire asked, gently, that the same Lila you mentioned a while back? I nodded. Yeah. She waited. She messaged you? I hesitated. Yeah, she did. Claire didn't explode. Didn't accuse. She just sighed. Do you still have feelings for her? That question hit harder than I thought. I shook my head. Not feelings. Just fragments. Like dust on old photos. Doesn't mean I want the past back. She watched me for a while. Then nodded. Okay, she said. But if she keeps messaging, I need to know where I stand. And I respected her more in that moment than I ever had anyone before. But Lila did keep messaging. Not daily. Not with drama. Just slow persistence. I just want to talk. We were more than a mistake. I miss your voice. I understand if you hate me. She was pulling every string she used to know how to play. And for a brief moment, I almost responded. Almost. Then I saw Claire's face again in my mind. Her patience. Her trust. And I realized what Lila was doing. She wasn't reaching out because she loved me. She was reaching out because she missed being loved. Big difference. When the mirror cracks. One night, a new number called me. I let it go to voicemail. Then listened. It was Cole. His voice was hoarse, angry, maybe drunk. Hope you're happy, man. You won. She cried over you more than she ever did for me. You must be proud. Click. I sat there, stunned. Not because he called, but because it finally hit me. This wasn't about love. It never had been. It was about power. Lila loved being wanted. She loved knowing I was there, her fallback, her soft place to land. But now, I wasn't there anymore. And she had nowhere left to fall. So she called the past. She called me. I blocked the number, deleted her last message. And that night, I held Claire close, tighter than usual. She noticed. Everything okay? She asked softly. And for the first time, I said it out loud. I finally forgave myself. What we lose when we look back. A month passed. Claire and I took a weekend trip to Asheville. Cabins, trails, cold mountain air that burned your lungs in the best way. We laughed. We kissed under string lights outside a cafe. We built something real. And yet, one night, while she showered, I found myself scrolling back through old pictures. Lila and me, smiling at the lake. Her hand in mine. Her eyes, the ones I thought I understood back then. The ones that lied. I hated that those images still existed. I hated more that they still affected me. Not because I wanted her back, but because I wanted what I thought she was. The version of her that never existed. The one I had built in my own mind, kind, loyal, true. But the real Lila? She played me like a chord, pulled me tight, then cut the string when it suited her. And yet here I was, remembering. I closed the album, locked the screen, stared at the ceiling. Why do ghosts feel warm sometimes? Claire came out in a towel, hair damp. She saw something in my eyes. You good? I nodded, then paused. No, not really. She sat next to me, silent, waiting. So I spoke. Do you ever miss something that hurt you? Not because you want it back, just because it mattered, even if it shouldn't have. She studied me, then answered. Yeah, I think that's how we know it really hurt, because it went deep enough to matter. I blinked. Are you mad at me? No, she said instantly. Not unless you open the door again. I won't. She nodded, but then added, even if she's still standing outside? And I swear to God, I wanted to cry right there. Because she saw everything. The final message. 6 weeks later, it came. Her last message. I get it now. You're done with me. I kept hoping you'd talk, because I wasn't ready to feel this alone. I thought if you missed me even a little, maybe I wasn't a terrible person. But I was. I was selfish. You gave me the kind of love people spend their whole lives hoping for. And I treated it like it was replaceable. I'm sorry, Matt. Truly. No ask. No bait. No hook. Just silence afterward. She never messaged again. And that's when I finally cried. Not because I missed her, but because it was finally over. Like standing at the grave of a version of yourself you no longer needed. Some endings aren't explosive. They just fade. Claire and I moved in together the following spring. I didn't tell her when Lila messaged that last time. Didn't need to. I had no temptation left to share that final string, because I had nothing left to prove. Not to Lila, not even to myself. I had loved deeply. I had been used. I had healed. And I had found someone who saw me not as a fallback, or a placeholder, or a temporary solution to loneliness, but as a choice. Every day. Epilogue. 2 years later. I saw Lila again once. Accidentally. She was walking out of a grocery store while I was walking in. Alone. No makeup. Headphones in. She saw me. Froze. I gave a polite nod. She smiled, small and fragile, then walked away. No words. No message afterward. Just a final moment between two people who once thought they were everything, but were, in fact, just a lesson. A painful, necessary, unforgettable one. The end.